Hello and welcome to the Print Time Triya Gulati. If you are someone who has been following the T20 World Cup 2026, you would definitely know about the spice and fun Iceland cricket has added to the ongoing campaign through its X account. Now, there's a question buzzing among cricket fans: who is the brain behind those witty tweets? So today I'm joined by Mr. David Cook, who is not only the secretary of the Icelandic Cricket Association, but he also runs the official account of Iceland Cricket on X. David, welcome, a very warm welcome to the print.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having us.
Let's start with the fact that you have got the title of being the funniest cricket association handles. Where do you draw this inspiration from?
Well, we might be the only association who is actually trying to be funny deliberately.
Yeah.
That's quite possible. Where do we get our inspiration from? Well, it's a mixture of the global cricketing world that provides us with a lot of input, a lot of natural comic material, a lot of irony, and we like to also bring everything back to Iceland. So
Right.
pretty much everything we can put into an Icelandic context, even when there's absolutely no right to do so.
Right. But do you think that your memes helped more people discover Iceland cricket than your actual matches did? Like, be honest about it.
Oh, without any question. So, I mean, we obviously have quite a following on X, and that's been growing for some period of time. And we can see the viewership and the impressions, the engagements, and so on. And if you actually look at what we get when we comment on events such as the World Cup or the Ashes, we're getting in the many millions of engagements each week.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we have a cricket season here. We play from May until about end of August, and we post about those matches and what the national team are doing, or what's happening in club cricket with our domestic tournaments. It's a tiny fraction of the level of engagement we get
Right.
for
Right.
that. So, of course, people are more interested in our opinions and the fact that we say things that other boards would not be prepared to say.
Right. And you're not scared putting out those thoughts?
Well, we're a long way from other nations on this remote volcanic rock in the North Atlantic.
Right.
So we
But
have
also,
nothing to lose. We're a growing cricket nation. We aim to
yeah.
be an ICC nation by about 2030, an associate member. And, people often ask, will we be deleting all of our posts at that point in time to be something more establishment, you might say?
Yeah.
And I don't think we could. I don't think we could scroll through so many to delete everything that
Right.
we've said over the last 10 years.
Right. David, with respect to this ongoing World Cup campaign, we saw you had one too many thoughts about it. So, about the whole chaos also that has been happening. So, I want to hear you unfiltered about your thoughts about, the ongoing campaign and also the all the chaos that has been happening for the last couple of days.
I mean, the chaos goes back to Bangladesh, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Really, that's where it all started with the issues of security, politicization of the event, we might say, and then we've had the Pakistani withdrawal, the unforfeiture, as we're calling it on X, and
Yeah.
I mean, I think from I mean, obviously, I'm not Asian. I take my own interpretation of events, but I think a lot of our fans have been saying it was fairly clear just through the tickets that had been bought that Pakistan were always going to play this match in Colombo against India on Sunday, regardless of whether they won or lost against the US and the Netherlands. So it's been taking a lot of attention away from the cricket, you might say.
Mhm.
Um, but I know that whenever India and Pakistan play, it does become this geopolitical event as much as a cricket encounter on the field. And from my perspective as a fan of the game, I would much rather that we didn't have this and Pakistan and India were able to play ODI series, especially Test series, bilateral matches. That would be just fantastic for cricket, I think.
Hmm.
Doesn't seem possible outside of World Cups at the moment, and even getting them to play in World Cups is proving challenging.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I think the storm has now passed, and we're looking forward to the game on Sunday. And well, it'll be interesting to see who wins.
Which side are you on?
Oh,
Which
we
are
are
your favorite? Who
completely.
is your favorite? Let's just let
Well,
me ask you that.
I mean, we are completely neutral in Icelandic cricket. May the worst team lose is our attitude.
Okay, but we saw that you even offered to step in for Pakistan, and like within
Yeah,
24 hours you were like you guys were like that. Okay, we can't now do it because it's on a very short notice. So was
it,
it just part of your sarcasm game, or were you really like offering to step in?
yeah. I mean, we were suggesting ourselves as a viable alternative because I mean, if you look at how the ICC replaced Bangladesh, they chose Scotland.
Yeah,
Well, fair enough. They did it on world rankings, but we are the nation ranked after Scotland with the most X followers. That's our basis for determining everything. So we should have been the ones to naturally to replace Pakistan if they had withdrawn from the competition. But the problem is, as you noted, we then had to face up to some harsh realities. How do you actually get to Colombo in an affordable manner when all your squad are working? As we've received a lot of attention because our captain is a professional baker. It's perfectly
yeah,
true. His brother also plays for our team, Blackmal Bandara. He's also a professional baker. Then we have people who work in, I don't know, we have taxi drivers, we have people working in restaurants. I work at a university. We have people working in investment, you name it. We have professional entertainers. All of that, they have jobs. And that's the nature of sort of cricket in the lower echelons. We're not so different from the Italian team.
yeah,
They are pizza deliverers, they are Uber drivers, if you
yeah,
look at the Italian squad.
yeah.
So you need some degree of planning in order
Hmm.
for people at the amateur end of the game to actually take part. And I think people really resonate with that on
Yeah.
X. People really actually like the romantic side of cricket as much as anything. The fact that we're people who have jobs, we're developing cricket here alongside that. None of us, I'm on the board of the Icelandic Cricket Association, none of us take a wage to develop cricket and to get us to ICC Associate membership. We're all doing this as a hobby.
Hmm. Right. When you roast teams like Pakistan or Scotland, you take those jibes at them. There's where's the line between banter and critique, and do you enjoy walking on that thin line?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's where the fun comes from, is you just straddle that thin line between humor, but it's humor with a smile. It's not
Hmm.
aiming to really put anyone down. It's just
Mm-hmm.
often laughing at the irony of cricket, really,
Right.
and also
Any-
so often the inconsistencies that we observe, the hypocrisies we sometimes observe, all of those kind of things.
Right.
But it's never done. It's never done with an edge of nastiness. And
Hmm.
I think that's part of our appeal, actually, is that
Right.
we're all into this for the fun of the game. We believe that cricket is entertainment fundamentally.
Right. It is one part noticing hypocrisy, and the other part is calling it out. And just the way
Mhm.
you call it out is just fun, right? It's so
Yeah.
lighthearted and fun. Any particular comedy shows you draw, you learn from, or like anything that you particularly watch, which sort of helps you brush up your humor and sarcasm skills?
Where we draw our humor really is from an Icelandic mindset, really. The Icelandic humor here is quite dark.
Okay.
I've been living in Iceland. I'm English originally. I've been living in Iceland. I'm an Icelandic citizen. I've been here nearly 15 years. And the Icelandic humor is dark, it's sarcastic. We spend almost half the year in darkness, a lot of darkness, you might say. In December we have about 4 hours of daylight,
Hmm.
so you have to get through that somehow. So the Icelandic mindset is it's one of sarcasm, and as I say, we often bring our posts back to an Icelandic perspective, even when we have no right to do so. Everything is centered around Iceland, and we've kind of built this ex persona around that, this stereotypical Icelander who believes the whole world revolves around them.
Around
So
them.
that's a big theme in our posts.
Right. You just now mentioned that you were in English, and for the last 15 years, you have been living in Iceland. What prompted this shift?
Yeah, so I came to Iceland in 2012, early 2012, and I actually came here to do further study. So I'm now an academic at the University of Iceland, but I came here to study there, did a master's degree in environment and natural resources, and then I did a PhD, and then I've carried on working in that field. So my specialism is issues to do with renewable energy and sustainability, and I lecture in environmental economics. I'm actually going to do so in a minute. Um,
And how did cricket happen then?
Well, cricket has always been my hobby, my passion. You know, I was not a very good player in England, playing a sort of club cricket. Played mostly in a county called Devon. That's where I grew up. Then played a bit in London, a little bit when I was in Wiltshire, and then I
Mm-hmm.
moved to Iceland. And suddenly I found that the level here was not so high. You know, we don't have so many cricketers, about 150.
Yeah.
And I was even able to play for the national team. Still do, actually.
Hmm.
So I'm a spin bowler.
Okay. Okay. Coming back to your ex account, there was a thought that crossed my mind when I was, just following up your tweets on specifically during this ongoing World Cup campaign. Uh, do you think that is trolling, like, these big teams, your way of saying that ICC, hey, please notice us? Do you think that somewhere is a subconscious thought that this might get you guys' attention?
We do have a serious message. I mean, the thing with the ICC, we often, if you look, we do a few serious posts as well.
Yeah.
If you look at some of our serious posts, there's a consistent theme about the funding model that the ICC operates.
Yeah.
So it is very heavily biased to a small number of nations.
Hmm.
Even within the four member nations, it's biased. But then if you look at the pot that's distributed to the associate members, it's increased recently, but it's still split among about more than 90 associate members. Each
Hmm.
one gets very little. We were playing Estonia 2 years ago. They're a decent team. They're currently crowdfunding so they can go to the qualifiers. We are not yet associate members. We have to tick all of the membership criteria boxes. We get no funding to support us. So we are meeting them slowly, but it is slow. We would be
It
able
is
to meet them much faster if they gave us some funding on an incremental basis, saying, you
right.
have ticked this box. Okay, you're part of the way there. You deserve some money. This will
Hmm.
help you towards fully developing, let's say, women's cricket, fully developing youth cricket competitions, which is what we have to do
Yeah.
to get the ICC Associate membership. So that part we feel is quite unfair. However, you know, we deal with it. We try and raise money. Our X account has been quite good in promotion, and we do have a sponsor coming up for the Icelandic Premier League, which is our T20 competition. I can't tell you who it is yet, but
Okay.
a press release is coming
Okay.
soon. Australian sponsor who has also
But
been
but
following
but
us on
the
X.
sponsor you got after, like, now that your account has this kind
Yeah,
of following. But you also said that initially you did crowdfunding to sponsor your team to, like, play matches. What
we
kind
have
of
done.
crowdfunding? How did you go about it? Who were the people who contributed their money?
Well, I mean, the people who contributed were just the general cricket community who that we crowdfunded. If I recall, we crowdfunded in 2018 to support us going on a tour of England. We
Mhm.
played 5 matches on that tour, including Switzerland, and it was our
Hmm.
first ever 50 over match,
Yeah.
an ODI, you might say, on neutral territory, which suited the Swiss.
Hmm.
But we won the game. We won by 215 runs, and that
Yeah.
was mostly funded through crowdfunding, just through our X account. It was then led by someone called Kit Harris, who's now associate editor at Wisdom. He
Hmm.
got us from an X following of about 200 to 20,000. So he deserves a lot of the credit.
Right.
He did the initial groundwork, and I just built
Took
on
it
it.
forward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it was mostly those people in 2018 who were supporting us, and some, of course, some local people within Iceland, and
Hmm.
so on. But word of mouth is such a useful thing when it comes to crowdfunding and getting your name out there, isn't it? So
Right. You just mentioned about your match with Switzerland, and my next question was on
mm,
exactly those lines that, you're also, apart from handling the X account, which I also mentioned in your introduction, that you are also the secretary of the Icelandic Cricket Association. Talk to
yeah,
me about the journey of cricket in Iceland, and how have you managed to make the sport popular in a country which started pretty late?
very late. I mean, it's it's a long story. I'm not sure if I can keep it to a short answer, but I mean, we often say that we were the inventors of cricket. We do this mostly to annoy the English fans, but there is documentary evidence in the Icelandic sagas that there was a game called Knatleika.
Okay.
It literally translates to the ball game, and it was vaguely similar to cricket. It had teams, it had a bat, it had a ball, and it was played loosely according to rules that we might say assembled cricket. That was back in the 10th century, not long after Iceland was settled, and it's all documented in the Icelandic sagas, which are famous medieval literary texts. Then nothing much happened until, let's say, from the 11th century through to 1999. There was a big hole, apart from a couple of games that was played in the war by the occupying British forces on our airfield. Okay, so what happened in 1999? One of our founding fathers, Ragnar Christensen, he was at Lord's. He somehow managed to scramble some tickets and he watched the World Cup. And then he came back to Iceland with talked to some fellow Icelanders and thought, why don't we start cricket here? It will be fun. Didn't really even understand the rules, but somehow he managed to scramble some kit from what was then the European Cricket Council. And for about 15 years, they played occasional matches, mostly Icelanders. It was only really in 2014, 2015 that cricket then started to take off here more formally. We started to have clubs. There was a large expat population that had moved here. We have a lot of Indians. Maybe 50% of our players actually originate from India.
Okay.
We have a big biotech company here who's bringing a lot of people across over the last few years, and we started to develop clubs. We now have 5 clubs. We have the national team, and all of this is still very, very small, of course. But Iceland is a tiny nation. We have no right to be getting the level of attention that we do, really. But still, we have big ambitions. And
Yeah.
the one thing, coming back to the ICC, the one thing that they don't show any flexibility on is the membership criteria for small nations. So we have to meet the same standards as, say, a nation the size of the United States.
Right.
That is a challenge.
Yeah, David, you mentioned that half of your team is of Indian origin. Could you
Roughly.
elaborate more on that? Who are these people, and how did you form this team?
Um, well, I mean, I say the half of them are Indian. There were actually a very diverse mix as well. So we have people from all of the main cricket playing nations: Sri Lankans, South Africans, English, West Indian, Australian, you name it.
Okay.
And I suppose when we were starting to formalize this in 2015, the hardest thing was, how do you bring this together in a way and formats in which people actually can come together? People are all used to all different forms of cricket. When I was in England, it was Sunday and Saturday cricket, 40, 50 overs a side.
Hmm.
We don't play that. We play mostly T20 cricket. In
Hmm.
Iceland, it's quick. People can fit it in around their work. We quickly realized you needed a formal governance structure. So for all the comedy, we do actually do things seriously behind the scenes. We have a board, we have a chairman, a vice chairman, a treasurer, me, secretary, we have deputy secretary, we have our national coach, who is Indian, by the way, Bala Kamalakaran. He's our former CEO. He's now our national coach. So we're doing all of those things properly, you might say. And you have to demonstrate good governance if you want to be an ICC associate member.
Yeah.
You want to go to the qualifiers for the World Cup. That's the
Hmm.
ultimate aim, is to be playing in those.
Right. But in the end, it's also about, it comes down to performance as well. And while I do agree that your team has played only, like, a couple of matches,
Well, we played a few actually. We played in the
Yeah,
Euro Cup last year, and we
yeah.
we we
Where
finished
you won
level on
three
points with the.
consecutive T20 matches, where you won three
We did.
consecutive T20 matches,
We
right?
did.
But still, do you think that as compared to the competitive cricket, the kind of teams that you see in the World Cup right now, the performance even of the underdogs is phenomenal. Where do you think Iceland ranks in this among this?
Um, we are not at that level. I mean, let's be realistic. We haven't played those kind of teams yet.
Yeah.
But we have players with talent. I think we have opportunities to develop the game here a lot.
Okay.
How are we? I mean, we mentioned the Euro Cup there and those 3 wins against
Hmm.
Latvia, Lithuania, Ukraine,
Yeah.
and we've beaten the Swiss team before. So, I mean, in terms of where we would rank if we were an actual associate nation, I think we would be 75, 80 in the world, somewhere like that would
Hmm.
be my guess. You know, we played Estonia in 2023,
Yeah.
lost both of those T20 games, but we did bowl them out in one. We were competitive. Our batting let us down a bit. So our bowling and fielding is normally pretty good. It's mostly whether we can score the runs. I mean, when we played Lithuania and Latvia, Ukraine, even Poland, who we lost to, you know, we took 8 of their wickets. We bowled out all of the other teams. So
Right.
it's just a question of whether we can score the runs.
Score the runs or not. But also, like you mentioned, that all of your cricketers have a daytime job, and like
Yeah.
along with that, they manage to play cricket. What kind of trainings these they undergo? What kind of practice sessions do you have? What is the practice format? Tell me a bit about that as well. That how are you shaping up your team?
Well, all our 5 clubs determine their own practice. I mean, we're still in the winter. We're still 3 months from our domestic season. So at the moment, the national team players will be training with their clubs as they see fit.
Okay.
I'm myself. I can speak for myself. I'm training on a weekly basis, 3 hours on a Sunday, just to keep things going. And we train in indoor sports halls because it's 0 degrees here. It's not so much fun outside at this time of year. When it comes to the national team through the summer, they'll be having regular training sessions, practice matches. We're going to the Euro Cup again in Poland in July.
Mm.
We have probably the biggest event we've ever had in Iceland is we're having a visit from the MCC, the Marylebone Cricket Club, who are the owners of
Yeah.
Lords, the guardians of cricket's laws. So that's going to be really big in August. They're coming to play 3 matches. So we'll be doing a lot of practice for that. They're coming to play T20, a 50 overs and a 40 overs match.
Hmm.
And I'm told they are bringing quite a strong team. So it's going to be
Right.
fun to host them. We've hosted
Yeah.
many touring teams over the years in Iceland, but we've never hosted anyone of that prestige. So
Hmm. Would you love to host India?
we would love to host India. I mean, I think even if it was your 1,000th best team, we'd probably be very happy. Um, but of course, if we could get the likes of Kohli, Pant, Bumrah to
Yeah.
Iceland to play cricket, that would just be amazing. Sachin Tendulkar has been here on holiday. Um,
Hmm.
he actually came here about 16 years ago to play golf, of all things.
Okay. Okay.
But nobody here in those days knew who he was, embarrassingly. That was
Hmm.
before cricket really started to take off a
Started.
bit here. So he loved it here. He could just appear with absolute anonymity on the streets.
Right. David, last night, I'll just bring back your tweet. Last night, you tweeted about
Okay.
your country's performance in the Winter Olympics, and you
Oh
drew
no.
parallel with like cricket. But you highlighted the optimistic approach of the cricketers. Like that's
Yeah.
what it makes them stand out. Where does this optimism come from? And
Well, we have
can you also dissect your thought behind making that tweet?
well they have this phrase in Iceland which is called "Þetta reddast." It means
Okay.
literally it will all work out well in the end. And I'm sure many cricketers who have spent years failing but still believing have that attitude. And many of us are like that. We haven't made it to the big time yet, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
around the corner. And that's the kind of thinking behind that tweet. And it's obviously quite ironic that Iceland, being such a cold, icy nation, has never done anything in the Winter Olympics, and yet we actually have 4 medals in the Summer Olympics
Yeah.
in our history.
Mm.
So yeah, it's surprising, that we do have winter sports in Iceland: skiing, cross-country skiing especially, and
Mm.
skating. Ice hockey is played here, and yet we have no success whatsoever. So what
Right.
can you do?
You've extensively spoken about what the association has been doing for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I also want to understand the challenges the association and the team are facing in further pushing cricket in Iceland.
Yeah, I mean that's a very good question. I mean, the challenges have been mostly infrastructure related, and the weather, to be honest. I mean, the fact that we can only really play outside for 3 to 4 months of the year. It would be so much easier if we could play 6 months of the year. And also, I mean, Iceland is a very sports mad country. So we are trying to fit cricket into an already established sporting fraternity in Iceland. Cricket currently probably doesn't rank in terms of the top 30 sports here.
Oh, okay.
So in terms of getting even domestic funding to support cricket, that is a
Mhm.
challenge. We have applied for grants to support things like youth training and so on, and that's ongoing. But in terms of getting better infrastructure, netting facilities, better pitches, and so on, that proves to be the biggest challenge that we have faced, and continues to be. So it's all about facilities, developing grounds, just purpose-based for cricket. Those are all challenges that we continue to face, and
You know,
we
I
hope
was
to resolve them.
I was reading about the ground facility in Iceland, and I came
Hmm.
across an article where it was mentioned that you guys have only one ground. Is that true? What is the ground reality?
Well, we have actually, in the last 2 or 3 years, there's 3 places where we have played, but there's one venue where we play the vast majority of the matches, called Hamranesvöllur.
Okay.
It's in a small town of Hafnarfjörður, just on the edge of Reykjavik.
Hmm.
And that's a beautiful spot. You have a lava field surrounding the ground, you have mountains, beautiful forested area, wonderful
Hmm.
place. This is where the MCC are going to play us in
Okay.
August. And it's a
Hmm.
nice sized ground and wonderful to play at. But in terms of the actual facilities, not purpose built for cricket. So we are having to adapt it, and
Having
we
it
hope
that.
to develop it further in the coming years.
Do you also practice at in like other countries in pitches of other countries?
Well, when our national team tours abroad, we practice there, of course, but
Where? Where?
not.
I'm sorry.
For instance, when we've been to Poland, when we've been on tour to England, we practice there.
Okay.
But in terms of, do we send our players abroad to practice? No, I mean, we don't have the budget for those kind
You
of
don't have the
those kind
budget,
of
right?
things. All of our money goes into things such as funding the national team tour this summer, keeping
Hmm.
domestic cricket going. Of course, we,
Hmm.
we do raise some money from merchandise sales. We raise a very small amount actually from X in terms of creator revenue. People would be surprised how small it is. Most of our money really comes from tournament entry fees and sponsorship. We have a Baratala who are kindly sponsoring the national team again this year and next year. They're a language-based app for learning Icelandic. Great to have them and very useful. And they cover the majority of the national team travel costs, we might say, and accommodation.
Right. Right. Hypothetically, David, had Pakistan officially like backed out from the game, and you gotten a
Mm.
chance to participate, what impact would it possibly would have had on Icelandic cricket? And
Oh,
like,
enormous, I think. That level of exposure, people actually seeing us play, it would have been absolutely huge. I mean, we do
are you
get
are you
enough.
gutted? Are you gutted that Pakistan agreed to play India?
Yeah, a little bit disappointed. I mean, deep down, I mean, what were they thinking? I mean, but I'm sure the administrators of the game would rather the $1 billion revenue they can get from this match taking place rather than Iceland turning up. However, it will be interesting to actually see in a hypothetical world how much attention we would have got if we had replaced
Yeah.
Pakistan. Would all of those people who had the tickets still have turned up? I
That's
hope
true.
so.
That would have been interesting to to see.
Yeah.
But after World Cup, my next question would be on the lines of Indian Premier League (IPL), which
Mm.
BCCI hosts. How much can the Indian Premier League contribute to Iceland's cricket journey?
Well, quite a bit. I mean, it has been the inspiration for our own T20 tournament. We had quite a funny story. So obviously Icelandic Premier League is IPL, right? In it
Yeah.
as an acronym. So we used to call it the IPL. And then maybe 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, we received an email from the BCCI saying that we needed to stop using this term, that it was a trademarked term, the IPL. We had no right to use it. Okay. So we thought, well, we can get our lawyers onto this and start fighting the BCCI. Well, it's better to back down. We decided to back down. And then we changed it to Icelandic Premier League, which simply is the Icelandic word for Icelandic.
Yeah.
So then we have this is led by the letter I with an accent over the top. And we said to the BCCI, we're now calling it this. And they said, okay. So then they backed down. So yeah. And then, I mean, the inspiration for the tournament is similar. We have 30 matches, 30 league matches, and a final between the top two teams. The tournament takes more than 2 months. It takes forever, very much like the Indian Premier League. And we are going to be streaming all of it this summer on Crick
Okay.
Heroes and our YouTube channel as well. So for free.
David, David, this is like for the first time, you have spoken out and loud about everything. Like you've answered all the questions with in-depth analysis and I think with being a lot more realistic, right? But
Mhm.
if we just look at the X account, it's if we did, like I also described it as something which is very fun and lighthearted. Do you
Mm.
have the worry that people might see Iceland cricket as just memes and miss the real effort behind building the sport there?
Possibly. But we're not so concerned about that at this stage. We've said we're the first nation to be doing things the other way around. We're going to build the fan base and then develop the team.
Okay.
Everyone else does it. We'll develop the team and the fan base will follow.
Yeah.
We're doing it the other way around. And we think that those people who already follow us will stick with us when we actually are higher profile as a team.
Okay. Okay. David, I'll end this interview with a quick rapid fire. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So let's start. First question. Who is your favorite this season, World Cup 2026?
As a team or a player, or
As a
what do you
team.
mean?
As a team.
Good question. I think Nepal. I think what they did against England was just fantastic, and so unlucky not to win. And the fans are just amazing, aren't they?
And who would you see the final between? Who do you want to see in the final?
It's I would like to see India v England.
Okay. Okay. Who is your favorite batter, bowler, and all-rounder this season, and why?
Okay, favorite batter in recent times. I've really developed a grudging admiration for Travis Head in recent times.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite bowler, perhaps Bumrah.
Okay.
I know he hasn't been in the best of form just recently, but I mean he's a superstar, isn't he, as a pace bowler?
Mm-hmm.
Favorite all-rounder, I do admire Ben Stokes. I mean, he's not in the tournament. He's not in this tournament, but if you
So
wanted
somebody
me to
who
make,
is in the tournament, somebody who is in the tournament.
okay, let's see. I mean, does Rashid Khan qualify as an all-rounder? He's probably more of a bowler, but
Yeah, but he has some big shots.
he has some big shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for me, he's the go-to cricketer for Afghanistan.
Okay.
So
Okay.
let's say him.
According to you, which country needs Iceland's tweet therapy more? Scotland, Pakistan, or probably ICC?
Probably ICC. I think they definitely need it. We should take over their account one day. Things will change.
I'm sure it will. Okay, if Iceland gets ICC Associate status, do the memes get sharper or more diplomatic?
No, they stay the same. You know,
Okay. Do they
we'll
get
take the
sharper
fun.
or the
Well,
same?
well, we'll have to see when we get there. But I don't think they're going to change very much, to be honest. I only have one way.
Right. Okay, one last question. In one sentence, is Iceland cricket trolling the cricket world or holding up a mirror to it?
Mm, both, both.
Both. Okay. Okay. That works. I think that works. David, I think that's it. On that note, I would like end the interview. Thank you so much for
No,
taking out
thank
time.
you.
Anything else you want to share through this interview? Any message you have for ICC or BCCI? You please feel free to say.
No, I mean, just thank you. Thank you, first of all, for having us. And thank you to all our fans for engaging with us so much online. You know, it's a lot of fun. And we really appreciate all of the responses and the interactions and helping us to grow the game here in
Okay.
Iceland. So,
Anything for ICC or BCCI?
no, I mean, our message to the ICC is to remember that there are teams out there who want to be associate member nations. You know, ICC has this mission to grow the game and to
Mm-hmm.
remember to at least support us a little bit on the
Yeah.
way.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
No,
Uh,
thank you.